Hello everybody, Andrew Hutchings here, still not a licensed physician, still never giving medical advice. It's purely educational and informational. And just a heads up, oftentimes because of a screwed up neck right now, when I'm speaking, it causes my head to hurt, so it disrupts my thoughts. So if I look strange and stop talking, that's why. I recently made a video on non-toxic alcohol alternatives, which is drugs, certain drugs at certain dosages. And I thought, I really should make this video about why you shouldn't use drugs. Not necessarily the drugs I mentioned in that video at those doses. Not that I mentioned the doses for all of them, but yeah, drugs in general, there are two really big reasons, besides death, besides ruining your health, besides, say you're a heroin addict, probably stealing stuff and selling it for heroin. Yeah, that's really bad, but there's two really big things that aren't generally talked about. One of them actually is, and people think it's like a scare tactic or something, that weed will zap your motivation. That applies to all drugs, actually. So the two things are, I'll start with zapping your motivation, killing your motivation, and allowing you to ignore problems. That doesn't sound too bad. You just lower your motivation a bit, you get to ignore your problems. Now you're happy, you don't have to focus on your problems. The problem is when you don't focus on your problems, they grow bigger. And this applies to all sorts of problems. It could be emotional development problems even. They could be your finances, it could be your education, it could be anything. And in general, when people use drugs, they're ignoring or simply not working on issues. So instead of solving them and improving their life, they're letting them get worse. Because that's generally what happens when you don't deal with something that you need to deal with. It gets worse. That's incredibly significant. Really, people that get off drugs and they start tackling the things they need to tackle, their life is going to completely turn around, including their emotional development, because you get mad about something, you use your drugs, now you don't have to think about it and figure out what's going on and deal with your emotions. Drugs emotionally stunt you. And the other thing, like I said, zapping your motivation. I remember they used to say that in school, for weed. I don't know why they didn't say it for all drugs, but yeah, weed zaps your motivation, other drugs zap your motivation. Why is it? Well, because they make you feel good, so now you don't need to work for things to make you feel good. That's a way to put it very simply. Our bodies are designed to do work to get pleasure. If you can just get pleasure by smoking this thing, your body knows that and it's just going to smoke that thing instead of doing whatever that it should do to get the small pleasure. You can smoke this thing and get a lot of pleasure. So now you have no real motivation to work on things and you feel really good and can just ignore things. It's a recipe for a disaster. So yeah, they kind of go hand in hand. Yeah, I don't hear that talked about ever. Believe me if you want to believe me, don't believe me if you don't want to believe me. I know this, it's completely true. Yeah, no one will ever convince me that it's not true. I've seen it, it's true, it's real, it's what happens. Now, of course, it's not every drug at every dosage for every person. You can have people using small doses of amphetamine, like people do for their ADHD. It doesn't necessarily make them ignore their problems. It doesn't necessarily it does kill their motivation if they don't take it, but yeah, it does not generally kill motivation. It makes them more motivated. But in general, for everything else, yeah, you're gonna use it and get pleasure, not work on things you should work on, and your life is going to go downhill, which is going to make you feel even worse, and you're going to want to use even more, and it's just a cycle. Yeah, not a whole lot to say about this. I hope you like this video. Please check out my other videos. Please like, subscribe, and comment. I have an Instagram, natural_true_fitness. I have a website, andrewhutchings.org, where you can hire me for consultations, coaching, plans, etc. for working out, for diet, for whatever. You cannot hire me for medical advice, but it's not medical advice if I don't tell you to do it. It's just medical information. And you can hire me for medical information. I've got a book on tendinitis, a systematic guide to defeating tendinitis. If you've got tendinitis somewhere, I recommend you go on Amazon, find the fastest shipping, get it to you ASAP. Get rid of your pain. It takes about a month. Get your life back. Because you never get time back. You should enjoy the day, not suffer. And really, if you've got tendinitis, you've probably spent a lot more than a month and $100 trying to get rid of it. You know that it seems like impossible, that doctors are idiots, they can never figure out what to do. Get this book ASAP. Please like, subscribe, and comment.